Caroline, yes, there are many sale stories with horses, individuals, sale events, but probably one that really sticks in mind was a phenomenal sale of a really nice colt one year at Easter, brought over from New Zealand by Don McLaren, a great breeder and great client from New Zealand. Had an elusive quality colt for sale. From memory, the reserve was about 200. The horse was all but knocked down at that price. And either Bob Ingham, or Sheikh Khalifa's advisor, bid, and the horse then went on and made 1.4 million. Well over $1 million more than what it was. The auctioneer nearly broke his wrist to pull up mid-action, and the horse went on and made another 1.2 million. So that really is a phenomenal result.
Criteria for 50-ton older, 75. 500.
And as an auctioneer, I mean, you can see the tension in just waiting as long as you can. It's quite an art to just wait till you're sure there's not another bid.
That's right, Caroline. We often talk about, auctioneers talk about feel, and sometimes you can feel, I know it sounds peculiar, or whether we're making it up, but you can feel another bid coming. And I'm sure that auctioneer in that time probably paused for that moment, and yes, another bid came, and then it went on in this phenomenal tussle between these two men that said, no, we want the colt.
And of course, because the job is, at Inglis, obviously, to do the right thing by the vendor and get that extra bid.
Oh, exactly. I mean, the vendor pays the bills. The vendor is always right. So we are working for the vendor, treating the buyers with the greatest respect, but getting as much as we can for the vendor. Quite right.
A gallant grey racehorse will always pique the interest of racing fans, particularly with a large ownership group through Denise Martin's Star Thoroughbreds. D'Argento, the dashing grey by So You Think, the Rosehill Guineas winner, has made a fabulous new home at the North family's Bowness stud at Young. It's just a beautiful part of the world, isn't it? Here, Young, southwestern New South Wales. You've had rain, it's green, brilliant blue sky. Winter doesn't get much better than this, does it?
No, I think it's probably the best start to winter we've had for 20 years. It's very, very good. It's certainly a big turnaround to what we've been used to in the last 12 months or couple of years. It's,
horse growing country. I mean, there are so many farms that have done so well in the region as well. It's really good country for growing out thoroughbreds.
It is. It's a very strong country. A bit of a hidden thing in this part of the world. I know the Hunter Valley's got a wonderful reputation, and the Limestone Coast in Adelaide and things like that. But this country here, we punch well above our weight for the volume of horses that we produce in the southwest slopes.
And you've had so many lovely horses come from the property. We know, the half-sisters Young Star and Fun Star and Trapeze Artist, Bonhoeffer, your resident sire's had some lovely horses such as Noble Boy and many, many others too.
Yeah, we've been very excited. We've had horses like Trapeze Artist, who holds two or three Randwick track records. In the past we've had Ike's Dream, she held the Randwick mile track record probably for 10 or 15 years. She was a wonderful filly for us. We've had Magic Millions winners like De Heros, who we sold in Adelaide for not a whole lot of money, and he went on and won the Magic Millions 3-year-old race, and Done By Me won the Magic Millions 2-year-old down there last year. A filly like Young Star that we took to Melbourne Gold Sale, and then she went on and won Group 1s, and she was sold earlier in the year by Inglis for $1.4 million as a broodmare. And I think Fun Star, I just read the other day, she's coming back now. A lot of very good horses coming off the farm.
D'Argento on the outside, swept to the front from Venderdance.
And so exciting to have a new stallion such as D'Argento, a son of So You Think, who was a bit of a colt horse himself. He had so many followers, he was just gorgeous. Same as your boy now, this gorgeous, gorgeous grey from a Redute's Choice mare. Tell me about how you came to have him stand here and, a little bit about him.
He was a horse that was always on our radar. Brett Howard and Denise was very good from Star Thoroughbreds, Denise Martin. And they offered us the horse, and we were able to come to an agreement to purchase him. We were super excited because he just ticked all the boxes for us. He was by a champion racehorse in So You Think, who won 10 Group 1s. D'Argento himself won a Group 1 Rosehill Guineas, which is the same race that horses like Castelvecchio, the Autumn Sun, Done Deal, all bred on similar crosses. And this horse, he was a real sprinter miler. His best form was probably over the 1400 to a mile, but he did win over 1200, 1300. He ran third in the Hobartville Stakes over 1400 to Pierre Arter, and Kementari won the race. He was beaten a lip in the Epsom by Hartnell in the Doncaster. He wasn't beaten far by Happy Clapper. So he was a genuine Group 1 performer, and most of his races as a 3-year-old were over in Group 1s or Group 2s. You know, he was a very, very good horse.
And he was like his sire in So You Think. I mean, he was out early and he won his first 2 starts as a late season 2-year-old. He came back to make it 3 in a row as a 3-year-old. And when you look at him, he's a real high chaparral, you know, the sire of So You Think. He has that big high wither and that sort of, you know, lovely scopy sort of look. But he's got a lot more power behind, I feel, looking at him than a lot of the high chaps. And you know, very much like his sire, So You Think.
That's another thing that attracted me to him is the horse's movement. When you watch him just moving through the paddocks, he's just poetry in motion. He's just got so much balance and movement and just oozes quality. So if he can pass that on to his progeny, he'll be very, very well received.
You have people that are still invested in him, you know, such as his former trainer Chris Waller, Star Thoroughbreds Denise Martin and more.
Yes, and Huey Bowman's, he's still in him. There's a lot of good people, very, very good people, and very, very good judges that have invested interests in this horse, and I'm sure he'll be very well patronised. We're exactly halfway between, say, the Scone and the Gambie, so we can draw from the north and we can draw from the south, and we're in an area. We're only 3.5 hours from Sydney. It's a 6-lane highway these days, so it's pretty easy travelling.
He wasn't that far away from Winks in the Winks Stakes as well, and he won over $1 million for the owners. I think there's going to be a huge amount of interest in this horse and his foals when they come.
I've spoken to Denise and she's quite excited about his future. He led in a Cox Plate. He's a horse that is used to getting back in his races and having that Chautauqua-like finish made him a very exciting horse. So you always saw him finishing off in his races.
Full hands in front.
It's very exciting. You know, I know Zoostar's out of a Reduced Choice mare, and I'm sort of thinking, you know, I'd like to get some of those in Costa del Lago bloodline mares to him. I think that'd work very well. The Written Tycoon line, I think it's always worked well with Reducts, and the Zabeel line has always worked very well with Reduts. So this horse, for me, he ticks a lot of boxes, you know, with the high chaparral, the Saddler's Wells sire line, through Reduts. He's going to cross well with a lot of the very successful stallions that in Australia. We're a family-owned and operated business. We're very much hands-on. We grow all our own feed and make all our own hay and our grain, and that helps save a few dollars at the end of the day, but it also means we can feed very well, and that's a very important part in the rearing of the horses.
Yeah, and having a new stallion, it does give that extra air of anticipation too.
It sort of rejuvenates you to a degree. You know, once this COVID virus thing came in and we thought, gee, are we going to be allowed to travel our horses up to the Hunter Valley or down into Victoria, and if we do, are we going to be able to get them back, and that sort of thing. We thought, well, we need a stallion. We need something that's going to be pretty good and that people want to buy the progeny from, and so this horse has actually just fallen into our lap, and we're quite excited and re-energised.
And with his sire, So You Think, continuing to throw stakes winners, D'Argento is a great option for people wanting to breed a classic racehorse. Coming up after the break, Sky Racing's own irrepressible Gary Harley, a big fan of Bred to Win, makes his debut on the show in Arrowfield Studs, the horse who made you love racing.